What's going on, Cardfight community? OMG Josh here with Cardfight Club. First rule of Cardfight Club is you don't talk about Cardfight Club. Today I'll be giving you a deck profile on my Royal Paladin Suicide Sage Miron because today I can't lose. So this deck's a little bit of a lot of aggression and a whole lot of like live fast, die young kind of mentality. It can be slowed down. It can be really situational. The way I have it built is just kind of odd, but I think it makes sense. So with the starter, there is no other starter for a blaster deck. Wingle Brave. Upon boosting and hitting with a blaster Vanguard, or actually just upon boosting a blaster, doesn't have to be a Vanguard, and hitting anything, you second in a deck and you search out a blaster. This is just perfect for tons on hit pressure and getting that combo piece you desperately need. And you'll have blaster targets through all three grades in case they try to snuff you. And that's all there is to it. So the main combo piece for blaster, not a great card overall, but you may hit its effect. Blaster, Friend Barkle, simple, just upon placing another blaster in front of it. If you have a blaster Vanguard, you get to countercharge one. Other than that, it's just kind of your main combo piece for Lou. That's the only reason why you run 4. You may get the countercharge. It's very possible. It's actually really possible, but it's not necessary. But the deck is very counterblast heavy, so those countercharges are nice. It does always upset the opponent when you pull it off. Next, we go on to 3 blaster rapier. I currently don't have a third. It's ordered. It's just missing. But when I play the deck, I have 3. Somebody lets me borrow one. You need 3, at least 3. 2's too little. 4, I could see it too. You want to ride a blaster grade 1. That's kind of your pinnacle. Just because if you attack, you need that. You need to have that blaster boosted by your Wingle, just for that on hit pressure. Plus, don't underestimate the 7k resist columns. This is you'll find out in a second, but this is a Sanctuary Guard deck, so grade 1s in the front row don't really hurt it that bad. But you need that blaster first ride, so you have 7 potential blaster rides, and it's kind of really important that you hit that blaster ride. Don't criticize me too much for the 1 proxy. I have another one in here later. Next, we run 2 Hidden Sage Miron. Just because I run 3 been on, and I can also get it with Sanctuary Guard skill if I want. However, usually you don't pull this for Sanctuary Guard. However, it's possible. You never know. I plan on hitting the skill once. That's why I only run 3 been on and 2 Miron. It's a little dicey. Sometimes you can draw it, sometimes you can damage it. It's whatever, but usually I'm just trying to hit the skill once. Then we go on to 3 fodder. I do want to stride with this deck eventually, but I don't need too many, so I run 3. That's just all there is to it. It's stride fodder. I will finish my opponents with stride, however, that's kind of not the case. Now, this is where it gets weird. I run 2 PGs. I'm actually just ordered and plan on testing the Brave PGs because both Been On and Sanctuary Guard can call it, so in scenarios where I absolutely need the PG, I just kind of ditch some hand or whatever and boom, call that out. It gets plus, it's an 8, plus it helps Sanctuary Guard skill and then comes back to me, if I remember correctly. I want to try teching those. I don't run these for the unflippability. I just run them for the fact that if the game isn't going my way and it's going to go a little bit longer than I planned on it, and I need 1 PG for that massive, 30k and 2 crit swing somebody's going to pull at me, that's why it's there. I'm going to get 1 most likely. So that's why I only run 2. And then my personal tech to deck, I run 1 pack all. It's just a weak, but it's, Soul Blast 2, Countercharge 2. A lot of your stuff is very Counterblast heavy, and a lot of opponents really want to starve you early. So if they only give you 2, you can get those 2 back. It's dirty, but it works, and Soul's not really a huge issue. So, a lot of times going into my grade 3, I can snag it with Sanctuary Guard, and all of a sudden I'm now back in the game, or I am back in the resource anyway. Pull off a lot of shenanigans with this, so On the grade 2s, like I kind of said, it's a blaster deck, so no surprise there. Run 4 blasters. The main engine of the deck. Its skill, you're not really going to hit. Counterblast 2 when you ride it, Counterblast 2 when it's placed. Just gets rid of stuff. One's anything, I think, if it's Vanguard, and then a grade 2 or lower, or 2 or higher if it's Rearguard. You'll use the skill only on extreme scenarios. A lot of times I may pop it off if I'm pulling this counter charge off, pop and pop 2, it's just 1. That made a whole lot of sense and looked awesome. So he's just the main combo piece of the deck. Everything you're going to do is going to revolve around restanding or getting him out to get multiple attacks off and getting him powers. So that's all there is to it. It's just a blaster deck. Because of that, I also run 1 Spirit. You only run 1 because he's searchable. And, I mean, you want to be on him grade 2. If you get him, you get him. If you don't, you don't. He's searchable through Wingle. He's your superior grade 2. This deck's a little dirty. You kind of want to sit on grade 2 for an extra turn. Kind of stall your opponent out. If you're playing against D-Robo, you want to hit the skill and knock out their starter just so they can't get that early stride on you unless they Sea Breeze. But usually they don't run Sea Breeze if they D-Robo. Just superior for sitting on Vanguard, installing for a turn or 2. That's kind of what you want to do. Easier block numbers, that's all there is to it. Plus, Blaster Vanguard helps with, some of your blaster skills. Like Blaster from Barkle. Like I said earlier, I run 3 Banon. Banon's like a Sword Me clone that just always works for pretty much nothing. You just got to call another combo piece for a +2. So on placement, you just Counterblast 1, search out a grade 1 6K, and that's all there is to it. Of course, you call out Hidden Sage Miron, Soul Blast 1, draw. Of course, like I said, I want to start testing the Brave PG, because you can also call out that as a 6K. All of a sudden, it fixed the lack of number because it gives it 2K, so it's an 8K. Boosting an 8K, you hit that 16K number. And then Counterblast 1 to pop it back to hand. So if I need this clutch, I know what's coming next turn. It's still pluses, and I think it's good tech. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but I got to try it out. So there's that. After Banon, we go into Lu. I only have 3 when I play the deck. I run 4. I'll switch out the next card for the 4th, but Lu is pretty awesome. When boosted by Blaster Friend, Barkle, or Floral Paladin Flogel, the crit trigger, which we'll get to at the end here, he gains power, and then he gains the skill of Counterblast and suck him into Soul. Call out a Blaster, give it 2 or 3K. 3K, I believe, so it gets a 12. 3K. This thing just hits stupid numbers. It's just awesome. If you're playing that rush aspect, it gives you that extra 2 attacks or so. If you kind of combo it, I'll spoiler alert here. If you combo it here, you boost it, it gets its skill off, you suck it in, you call Blaster, Blaster swings, it gets its skill off, and then you just keep swinging. I probably should have thrown the triggers out first instead of last with this profile, now that I think about it, but whatever. So that's all there is to it. I would run 4. I recommend running 4. He's the main rush. I just don't have 4, but I do when I play it. So like I said, a buddy lets me borrow them. And then, of course, I would drop one of these for the 4th. But I run 2 Starlight Violinist. This is just a fixer. It's kind of a pseudo anything. If I don't, this could be a Blaster, this can be a Lu, this could be a Banon. Of course, it's a little bit of a heavy combo at a Counterblast Soul Blast. What's great is you can ride him. He's rushy as fuck. It's just all there is to it. It's just an awesome fixer. I still really like running 2. Even with 4 Lu, I might try to, sneak another one in here somehow. It's just such a fun card. On to grade 3s, like I said, it's a Sanctuary Guard deck. If you don't know Sanctuary Guard Dragon by now, his skill isn't that amazing on its own. It's the stride he lets you get into. I think it's a he, could be an androgynous dragon. But the stride it allows you to get into is just, we'll get to that in a second, is what abuses this deck and brings a lot of unorthodox cards together. But his own skill is at Limit Break. He gets 3K for every 1 or less on the field. And then his more important skill is on placement. You just pitch any Royal Paladin to search a 1 or less Royal Paladin. So that's why, again, you can hit that Sage Miron to draw. You can hit major combo piece with Flogel. You can hit Pat Gall to countercharge 2 if you're really low on resource. Or you can hit, when I try the Brave PG, you can pull the Brave PG out if you need it as well, assuming you hit the Brave skill. So, Sanctuary Guard Dragon at 4. It can be your finisher, it can be your starter. It's just really good. That's all there is to it. You don't ever really use its Limit Break 4 skill. It may come in a last ditch, but that's about it. And then I run 1 Exceed. Just too good not to run, and it's searchable. Like I said, I kind of want to stall a little bit anyway. So if I hit my blaster grade 1 and grade 2 ride, I might pull this out if I didn't search for a spirit. Or I need that grade 3 piece, or maybe they just blocked me a few times. He's really good to go into, because like I said, if you rode the blasters, the whole blaster chain, then you get a great first stride. So just a ton of pressure, and opens you up to way too many combos in the deck not to run at least one. That's all there is to it. Otherwise, the deck kind of just can fall flat, really flat late game. So on to strides. Well, let's go on to, I guess, triggers real quick before we go into extra deck. 4 Floral Paladin Flogel. So hard to say. This is kind of the main combo piece of the deck and kind of the heart and soul of some of the abuse that goes on. Just for having a blaster anywhere on the field, swing at a Vanguard. After that battle, you counterblast, throw the sucker back in the deck, and restand that blaster. So, given all the extra power blaster's going to get, you're easily going to be stressing 4 or 5 attacks at plus, usually at least 9 to 12, just too good, especially since it can be called straight with Sanctuary Guard skill, if, the game allows that. Like I said, it's very versatile. Again, it's really aggressive. I want to stall on grade 2, so I run 4 more crits on top of 4 more crits. That leaves 12. And then I run 1 alt mile crit. I would probably run 4 of these if I had 4. I'm just missing 3. But you'd be surprised at how many times I still get this off with the 1 alt mile or the 2 alt mile I run. So I run 13 crit and 3 heals. I like the weird number game. There's way too many people out there that are like those pseudo Rain Man players that count all your cards, count all your triggers, assume you run this, assume you run that. Nobody's guessing I'm running 2 unless they saw this video. Nobody's guessing that I'm running 3 heals and 13 crits and 2 PGs and blah blah blah. It's really unorthodox, and it may catch that player off guard. Plus, I do run a few G guards because they're necessary now. In this deck, sometimes, like I said, can maybe fizzle a little short, and you have to go a little bit longer. So that's why I run them. You just need them. That's how the format goes. You're always going to run into that Link Joker or that Kagero or somebody that's just going to keep getting you off the field doing the opposite of what you do. On to kind of the heart and soul, one of the main finishers or starters of the deck, depending on how the game's just kind of dictated. This is also one of those games that can shoot a smart player or a dumb player who pretends to be smart like me in the foot, because you can outthink yourself and say, oh, I have this stride, I can do that, I might be able to press them with this. It's really important to know your opponent's hand, and just play the numbers game, but don't play too smart. This is kind of the bread and butter of the deck. So as long as you have a Sanctuary Guard Dragon heart, this gives 3k to the front row for every 1 or less on the field. So pretty much ditching your whole hand of triggers isn't even a bad play. It's not recommended all the time, but still. So due to the fact that you can restand and get out multiple blaster swings, you'll constantly be pushing blaster easily in the 15 or the 16 to 21s, and like I said, 5 attacks. You don't need 4. 2's too little. Most of the time I go into 2, and then if I have to keep going, I'll go into alt mile. That's just how it goes. But I say you never need 3. There's never a scenario where I lost because I couldn't go into. Or you never need 4. I could, didn't go into, what's his name? Alright, so now we go Alfred Saver, because I run the 1 Exceed. Like I said, he opens you up into too much. So if you just pushed really strong, you went you went here first, you wasted their whole hand, they're still kind of hanging on. Now you drop him, and you get, you pull off 5 drive checks with a blaster in the front row, running those 13 crits. You're going to see that crit. You're going to see a lot of pressure. Just too great not to run. Just a little situational. Again, don't kill me for the proxies. These are for Divine, Sky Knight, whatever, alt vial. Flip a version of him up, search a grade 2, give it 5k, give the front row 3k. He's like a pseudo Regalia, and just really good when you run out of resources. Like I said, I have access to 2 when I play it, but I don't have access to 2 for my profile. So again, don't kill me for that. But he's necessary in the deck. It's just free fixer. Get you, for nothing. I can pull out my Starlight, which can get me another card. I can all of a sudden go from 0 to 100. Pull out Starlight, it gets 5k. Starlight pulls out Ben pulls out whatever, and now I have a full field again. Just too good. Because it is a blaster-centric deck, and I can hit this early, Soul Saver is just so good, Religious Soul Saver. The fact that I may have stalled them on grade 2, I ride into, Exceed, I have them at 4 damage, and all of a sudden now I'm giving the field, 3 units on the field, 5k, Vanguard's plus critical, and, one of the units I probably gave 5k was a blaster, and it's going to be just, pumping out an extra attack or 2. It's just too strong, and can finish your opponent on that first stride. If you don't have the Sanctuary Guard, maybe a lot of times I don't look for grade 3 if I don't have it in hand. I'm more concerned with that blaster grade 1, and everything else will kind of fall as it needs to. This deck's kind of amazing on how it plays. That's kind of it. These are a little controversial, and they probably should be Saint Blows or something, but I can't not run a deck without Samuel. He's won me games. He's won me a couple of games, and it's just, again, if you have those resources and you're kind of just falling flat and they're at 4 damage, and you put them into that 5th where they had that mindset where like, oh, I was going to let that rear guard hit, but now they can't let anything hit. You can just change everything, and it's just really underrated. And the fact that I can countercharge with Pack Goal and I can countercharge with, Blaster and whatever, it does happen. It's very possible, so I really like Samuel. This is one of the ones that's kind of the questionable ones. Again, if I'm on Blaster, I can Soul Blast 3 to give my whole field 5k. It's not really questionable. It's really good. It's just, again, if I'm not on Sanctuary Guard, it's another pseudo Sanctuary Guard, but it just floors my soul. It takes it all out usually, so unless I hit, lose skill, I'm not going to have extra soul. So that's kind of really situational. Sometimes last ditch, just depends. And then I am probably the only proprietor of this card, and again, this will change soon, but I like Hidden Sage Giron, just for the fact that if you know your opponent's hand and you need to get over it, there's a couple combos that this can kind of help you with. You just need to get a little bit wider, so you put down Blaster, he now has 5k, or better yet, you put down Starlight, activate Starlight skill because you have conflicting skill, get your Blaster out. Now you have 2 units in the front front row, and Blaster gets that 5k again. So it's techie. I don't really use it a lot. This could be Gablade. Like I said, maybe Samuel and him could be not Thing Saver, but the other one that's plus critical, Yeah, that one. I just said his name earlier. Saint Blow. And then on to G guards. I run 1 Assault. Assault, like I said, counterblast heavy, but Assault's really good in those games that go long. Just gets me that big number, counterblast 1, and puts me up potentially 5k for every unit I have. So I can just get that big guard if I need it. With my field's full and they're just coming at me. And then this is just your basic standard. Throw out a 10k to get 20k. Nothing to it either. Just, hey, here's one card that could potentially block for me and get me that G up that I need. So that's kind of all there is to it. That's my Suicide Sage Miron, because today I can't lose deck. Like I said, can kill a semi-smart player like myself, shoot you in the foot because you outplay yourself thinking you're too situational, but it's also really good at everything else. So Thank you for watching. If you like us, so please subscribe. We'll be posting more videos in the future. Thanks for watching Cardfight Club. I'm OMG Josh.